Dick Durbin here, asked by Breitbart why he attended a May Day event with so many communists and socialists. Listen to this.
Yes, go ahead. Okay, May Day is considered to be by many an international communist holiday.
You're trapped in ancient history, my friend.
There's a large
May Day is also Law Day in America.
There's a large contingent of Communist Party USA, anarchist, international socialist groups here today that you just spoke, because I filmed them all day.
Let me just tell you.
And you just spoke to them, so I'd like to ask about your participation, why you decided to come out today.
Because I believe in the Constitution. Do you believe in it?
Because you believe in the Constitution, you decided to come to a rally full of communists and socialists.
And you know why?
Why?
Because we have freedom of speech in America, and that's why you can record this and not be arrested.
You think I should be arrested?
No, not at all. You have a right to your constitutional rights, and I do too.
Wow, listen to that. He first starts with the and listen, I think this is another step closer to they're just going to come out and say it. Mm-hmm. He starts with the how do you know that they're communist? Ridiculous communist.
Ancient history.
Well, no, the Communist Party USA is over there, and the socialists are over there. I mean, you're speaking on the same stage with
anarchists are standing right behind you.
Right. I mean, so he
holding
realizes,
"We Love Dick Durbin" signs.
He realizes that he can't win that battle, and so then he immediately says freedom of speech, because I have a freedom of speech. I can say whatever I want, and I can be wherever I want, which is absolutely accurate. But that is one step closer to Dick Durbin coming out and just saying, "I'm with the communists, the socialists, and the anarchists."
Yeah,
and there's no fear. He then tries to instill fear, I think, in the other. Well, you know.
That's why you can do this and not be arrested.
Not be arrested.
Do what? What is he doing? He's talking to, recording a representative's
rather than say, and I think this is really telling, rather than say that's why the communists can be here today and not be arrested.
Yeah.
He
exactly right.
Instead turns it on the Breitbart reporter and says, that's why you're not arrested.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty clear where his loyalties lie.
He makes himself part of the communist, anarchist, socialist thing.
Yeah, he does.
And says, because that's the way I would answer that. If I happen to be there and somebody said, what were you doing? Weren't you at a communist rally? What were you doing? Well, yeah, I was at a communist rally. I was covering it, and I was saying, we were pointing and laughing the whole time. But are you saying that the communists don't have a right to assemble? Because they do. I defend their right. I would also point out that how wrong they are and everything else. He doesn't.
Yeah, it's interesting. He tells the Breitbart reporter that communism is ancient history. Would he say that to the same people he's on the stage with? Because they don't seem to think it's ancient history. Would you insult them, people who support you, by telling them that their philosophy is ancient history? I don't see you doing that.
No, they would allow him to do it because some of them would allow him to do it because they know we got to say it's ancient history stuff because we're talking to dummies now. That's why they would allow him to do that. Also, NBC New York reporter asked if they were even going to mention the communist flags that were present. Listen to her response.
Can I ask you guys a question? You're from Channel 4 News. I see. Are you guys going to show any of the people with hammer and sickle flags and signs?
I haven't seen any of those.
You haven't seen them?
No, I haven't.
They're right there.
What do they represent?
The hammer and sickle? You don't know what that represents?
What group are you with?
I'm not with any group.
Oh.
I'm just curious, as a major media company, if you're going to show in the story you do about this, the hammer and sickle flags. Absolutely, they're right there. They're right down by the bandstand.
Well, I appreciate it.
You can't miss them.
Have a good one.
She doesn't
Listen to that.
That's amazing.
No. Do you hear her? She is
Who
defending.
do you represent?
Before that.
I love that, though.
Before that. What do they represent?
Yeah.
So you're declaring yourself a moron. I just want to make sure, NBC, you're declaring yourself an absolute historic moron. You don't know. Well, I didn't see any yet. Okay, it's right there. So now you're declaring yourself blind. And then she goes hostile. She's a blind moron, and when that doesn't work, then she goes hostile. Who are you with?
So she can belittle and berate whoever he's with, because now she knows that it's some conservative person, and that's what she's going to try to tear down.
And it is
amazing.
And what she's saying there is, here's somebody ancient history time. Mm-hmm. Somebody wants to tell us that communism is bad.
Yeah,
but you'll notice this is a reporter. Did she sound neutral at all? Play it again. Listen to that. Does she sound neutral at all on
Can I ask you guys a question? You're from Channel 4 News. I see. Are you guys going to show any of the people with hammer and sickle flags and signs?
I haven't seen any of those.
You haven't seen them?
No, I haven't.
They're right
What
there.
What do they represent?
The hammer and sickle, you don't know what that represents?
What group are you with?
I'm not with any group.
Oh.
I'm just curious, as a major media company, if you're going to show in the story you do about this, the hammer and sickle flags. Absolutely, they're right there.
So let's stop. Let's look at this. I'm a reporter. I'm out on a story, and I'm covering it honestly. And somebody comes up and says, "Hey, are you with NBC?" No, I wouldn't be caught dead with NBC. I'm with The Blaze. Great. Are you guys going to cover the hammer and sickle thing? Well, have you ever heard of The Blaze? Yeah, of course we're going to cover that. That's probably the way I would actually answer it. But if I am asked for somebody, are you guys going to cover the hammer and sickle flags or the communists that are here? If I don't think that it is important, I don't get defensive. I say, no, I don't. I mean, we didn't think it was important.
Yeah,
Why?
I don't think there's not enough of them here, or it's not.
I don't
central
say
to the
that
story.
when the red is flapping right in front of me, you can hear the flag in the wind. You know, like what flag?
What?
I don't know a flag. There's a group of people around us. Hello, hallucination boy.
And as a news company, someone who's trying to drive ratings of your newscast, do you see an opportunity maybe there for another story? Something a little bit different than covering a freaking parade. Maybe a little controversy involved. Some people were upset that there were the communist protesters there. We talked to one of them. You got a guy here who's pissed off enough to walk up to you and ask you questions. Why not see if you can get a good soundbite out of him? Cover the freaking story instead of coming up with this predetermined package that you want to do before you even show up at the event.
Oh, because it's labor unions.
Yeah, I mean, there's a
they
good
don't
reason
want
for
them
it.
associated.
Right,
with
it's the labor
communists.
unions and NBC, run by the labor unions.
Oh yeah,
Every single person on that crew is in a labor union.
Yeah,
every single one. When I went to NBC, this is back in probably 85. Imus was still there. First time I met Don Imus. What a jerk! What a jerk! I went to NBC and I went with a friend who was working overnights, and he was terrified of Don Imus. And I said, "Can I just come?" I was working in Washington D.C. and I said, "Can I just come up and see what NBC is like?" And it was riddled with unions. There was a guy who had to have the record. He was a member of the musicians union, and he could pull the record out of the sleeve, and then he could put it on the turntable. Then a engineering union guy had to put the tone arm onto the record. The musicians union guy could actually cue it up because that had something to do with the music. And then the technician union guy, he could actually start the record. And my friend couldn't do any of it. He could only point. Your job, point and talk. That's it. It took 3 people to do what I did every night. So he's on and he's doing overnights, and I'm like, "Can I come up and just watch you?" And he says, "Yeah, but man, just stay out of Imus's way when he comes in." and he walks in, Imus walks in, and it's like 5 minutes till, and he kicks the door open with his boot, and he holds the door, and he said, "You get your stuff, and get out." We're like, "Good morning, Mr. Imus." That was it. But the point of it is, these networks are run by the unions. And if you have a union rally, you're not going to be the one, and nobody will be interested in covering. Well, the unions also seem to have a lot of communists in them. You have no chance of hearing any truth at all about a union from the media because they're all unionized, all of them.
It's sad, though. I mean, if that's the reasoning, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what else it could be. I mean, you would think, as someone who's trying to provide a news product that people would watch, this would be something you'd want to put on television. A battle between you can even paint them as you of course would. The evil right wingers, the hate mongers are here, and they're yelling at the communists, and there's controversy down here. I mean, they blow everything out of proportion on the news. Everything.